Good evening. My name is Pam Dodson. And as I said earlier this year, it would make sense to explore all of our options when it comes to the repair of our streets. Before we go into a long-term debt, which is what a bond is, which also increases everybody's taxes, we should consider what we can do with the revenue that already comes into the city. The EDC, the WCCPD, and the street maintenance and the ad valorem offset are what uses 1 cent of the 2 cents of a sales tax received by our city. Each one of these four get a fourth of 1 cent. Earlier this year, I suggested we reduce the EDC to 1/8 of a cent and add the other 1/8 of a cent to our street maintenance. But now, after seeing some of the figures for the streets, I'm suggesting we use all of the 1/4 cent for the street maintenance fund and let that raise over $1 million for our streets and alleys. Since they paid off the loan from Rackspace Street Project, the EDC seems to be at a loss on how to spend their $510,000. The EDC board has had discussions about investments and forming a committee to help them decide future projects. The EDC is guided by state law, and it has clear guidelines on how EDC monies can be spent. As we see in the newsletter, this month the board is paying for 3 board members to attend the ICSC convention in Las Vegas. Let's hope that sometime in the near future we see some real figures about the cost of this trip and just what enterprise it brings to our city. The claim is that this is an effort to attract new business to the area using privately owned property as the enticement. Most of the owners of these commercial properties have developers on their staff already. These are the individuals who can speak with authority about what the owner of the property thinks about any development of his property. A side note, almost all the businesses we have seen come to our community have been through the efforts of Rackspace and its previous owner. Adding $510,000 to the street maintenance fund would then give the city $1,096,000 a year for street repair. We all know about curb appeal when it comes to the purchase of a home. This would be the best advertisement for moving into our community, not the roller coaster ride down Eagle Crest we have now. And remember, we have tried this Let's Go Into Debt project before with Go Bonds, and it did not work well for the city. We could not afford any upkeep of our streets because all the street monies were being used to pay off the loan. We just finally paid off that debt in 2014, and I would hate to have an additional 8 to 10 cents back on our taxes, especially since taxpayers have heard over the last few years that the city's goal is for no property tax. Anyone who pays household expenses know that the cost of owning a home continues to go up. Just look at your water bill. Now you want us to have an even greater increase in our property taxes when we have other money readily available? And let's remember, we all have been told a number of times that all of our commercial properties are under contract. So this would be a good time to make this change. To place these monies in our street maintenance fund, an election needs to be called by this council to consider the redistribution of our sales tax and then let the voters be the ones to decide. The council should really explore this before going into debt. As I said before, the Windcrest taxpayer deserves nothing less. One last question to the council. Does each one of you pay city property tax? If the answer to that question is a no, please recuse yourself from any decision that has an effect on our city property taxes.
Thank you.